Hello, welcome to the Nerd Circuit. I'm Nick.
And I'm Chris.
So what are we talking about today?
Well, let's get started off kind of where we at in our own artistic journey into the fields of movies and games. So I guess I'll give us a little start here. Right now, I'm in month 11, I believe. No, month 13 into my career at Full Sail. Right now I'm doing my portfolio 4 class and first class into game animation. So I've taken animation classes already. Now I'm learning how to animate for games and put it into the Unreal Engine.
Oh, that's cool. So what are you doing outside of classes?
Right now class is taking up a lot of my time. But I am doing an internship on the side outside of work to earn a little extra cash, college student, all that fun stuff. So my internship, this is something everybody should at least check out if you're into VR gaming and have got an Oculus system. The game's called VR Battlegrounds, and it's made by Cyberdream. It's kind of like a PUBG feel to it, with they're working on getting squads in there, and it's actually really cool to be part of a team, to be part of the process of making a game and seeing how they actually put it all together. So right now, I just finished today retexturing their plane. They have like a big plane in the center of a shanty town on the side of the island. And I just retextured the whole thing because the old one was just kind of a flat black, kind of blurry, kind of missing that artistic feel, because originally the team was just developers and designers, less artistic people.
So what do they do, like, in gaming wise? Like, what other games do they have done?
This is actually, I believe, their first own game. They have another game that came out a little while ago. I think they worked on with another team. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. If you just give me a sec, I'll look at it.
Yeah, no problem.
So what have you been working on, Nick?
So I've been doing vocal production. That's one of my classes, and another one is for business. So, like, business is basically you have to learn how to do your own, like search up your own stuff for business. So, like, if you were doing entrepreneurship or becoming like your own like owner.
Yeah.
So I had to look for an LLC, like Florida company, like for the class, and like turn it in. But like it was kind of interesting to be able to learn like all the steps it required for becoming a business. And I have to say that it's rough to start your own business because you have to pay for your name. You have to go through all the legal option like stuff.
Oh yeah, it's not a easy process. That's why I'm doing video games now instead of a furniture company like I originally wanted to do a few years back.
Right. Yeah, and then we're doing like vocal production, so which basically means I could be doing this and also helping with, since we're only talking and only have like vocals, it can help me turn certain stuff down, be able to turn like help.
It's a better toy with how to make the podcast in this.
Yeah, pretty much.
It'll be good for this for sure.
Yeah. So what I've been doing outside of class is doing the podcast, be able to fix the voices. But we finally been able to learn how to do 2 mic system. So
yes, that was a fun process right before the podcast actually started. Nick was over here trying to figure all that out while I was looking some stuff up.
Yeah, it was pretty hard, but I knew where to go, but it was just like executing it was kind of the hardest because it's like you knew what you're doing, but like trying to figure it out, like you do need help a little bit. So you go to YouTube and like, or ask your teachers and stuff like that.
We live in an age where information's at their fingertips. So
yeah, pretty much.
You figured it out and everything's working now.
Yeah, that is true.
So what else are you working on outside of class? Any side projects you're just doing for fun, not podcast related, not homework related?
Yes, I started 2 nights ago. I started a mixing, like practice mix, and it's more the song is more like medieval kind of style. So it's like more like just like all instruments. So no like no vocals at all.
Yeah.
And it's really fun, kind of challenging because like the instruments have some really good high end in it. And it's like, ooh, it has some good high ends, some good low ends. But my favorite part of that, doing that mix right now, is like I just finished the drums, and I kid you not, I really like the sound of the drums in that
Nice
song.
Well, maybe in a few weeks you can share it with us. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's true. I'll leave it up on a Twitter or some stuff like that.
Well, you can share it on the podcast.
I'll try. Yeah. And so from going from music to games, what have you seen in the gaming world, like lately, right now?
Like new games coming out.
Yeah.
Some of the things that I remember, or one that came out that looked really interesting a couple of years back when they first introduced it, was Iron Harvest. That's one. I'm a really big fan of RTS. I grew up playing Age of Empires.
Did you see that
StarCraft?
Did you see that there's a new King Crusaders? There you go.
I've seen it. I didn't know it was an RTS.
It is an RTS. It's like you're on a. So you're like you have countries, and then you be able to. Sorry guys, my brain fart, boys. So like it's like that.
So it's like you setting up nations. You got to build a nation. And you fight other nations.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So
yeah, it's an RTS.
Yeah, come on, man. So you know what else is another good RTS is Frostpunk.
Is that one? I mean, it's a little bit different RTS too. It's not everything. It's supposed to be real time. Everything moves at the same time, but at the same time,
you can still pause to focus.
Well, yeah. Seems to focus less on combat and more on kind of building up your city.
Yeah, it's like Sims, but more you have a threat kind of thing.
Yeah, you're trying to survive the apocalypse.
Yeah, it's like taking Sims and Plague Inc. and you smash it, and that's what their baby is. It's like a snowy kind of death apocalypse kind of game.
It's a simulation game. I mean, looking at the trailers and commercials for it, it seems to kind of go with a kind of board game feel.
Yeah.
Like you lay things out, you have scenarios that pop up, like you pull a card and you got to figure out what you do with this, and then you got to deal with the consequences from said actions.
Yeah.
And it looks really cool.
It's a beautiful game.
Yes.
It gives that good graphics like feel. Even like when you play Frostpunk, it's the snow and like the frost on your screen is like depth of the game.
It's definitely one that when I get a PC one day, I'd probably get for the PC. Both those games are. I mean, Iron Harvest, same way. It looks really cool. I like it. It's an interesting take on what World War I would have been if they had kind of that technology.
Right.
I mean, it's not exactly real world because it's a video game.
Well, if you really think about it, instead of like World War I, like in World War II, like the Germans like were experimenting on like really big tanks. So like I would really consider like if that like kept moving forward, I feel like we would have been able to have like mechs and stuff at that time. But at that point, it's like not really.
Yeah, it kind of gives you that steampunk feel, but also that it happened in the real world feel at the same time. It's kind of a mix there.
Right.
But another couple games, horror games that look really cool that are coming out. The Medium and Quantum Error.
I did see the Medium.
I'm interested to see how they're going to do that.
Yeah, it's like a split screen, but like instead of having two players, it's just one singular player. So one control is for the other side, and while the other one is just like so you have one horror and one not, like kind of at feel, but like one's an abandoned school, but like the other one's like kind of crazy, like demonic stuff.
Yeah,
and I was like, whoa.
We got skin for the walls and dead bodies everywhere and monsters charging around, whereas in the real world you don't have any of that really.
Right.
But you see the shadows and stuff of it, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they didn't give they just gave the first trailer for it, so didn't really give too much out yet. But I want to know, is it going to how they're going to do the split screen? Because that's how that looks like they're going to make the gameplay. It's not going to be like you press a button and switch between worlds.
What was that one game that had the split screen that you could play with two people? It was a Way Out.
Yeah,
Prisoner. Yeah, the Prisoner was.
That was a co-op game though.
Yeah, well,
so
no, I'm just saying, but like have it. Like they did it pretty well with just having a split screen kind of game.
Well, yeah, it looks like they're doing side by side split screen. I just don't know if you're going to see two characters walking or they're going to cut the character right down the middle.
I feel like the intro is going to be like them walking, like switching between them for a little bit, and then when they get into the like the school or hospital, they're going to do like the slash between
the middle of the
middle,
character.
and then it's like and then switch, and it's like
it'll be interesting to see how they do it.
Right,
and it looks. I think it takes place in Russia or somewhere in Eastern Europe, but it looks really cool. It looks, the gameplay is really what I'm excited for that one, how they're going to do that. The artwork, I mean, when you're inside the school, it's kind of standard, but the other side, it looks really cool. It looks like they really well done, captured kind of that creepy feel, but also it's weird because they kind of gave it a warm light to it. So it kind of makes it look like you're burning in hell type deal.
Yeah, so one is more gritty and more like
dark,
and the other one's more like, oh yeah, you know where you are at kind of feel.
Like you kind of know the other side more than you know the real world type look to it.
Right.
So that may tie into the gaming, which would be really cool. And then Quantum Error, if you haven't seen the commercial for that, they shared it at Gamescom this year. To me, it kind of looks like a Doom 3 spiritual successor.
Right.
I mean, he plays a firefighter who goes to a secret science base, and something bad happened that opened up a portal to, in this case, I don't think it's hell. It seems like it's probably another world where alien has infected the people and turned them into basically zombies. What were your thoughts on it?
My thoughts of that one? Well, when I watched the trailer for it, it made me feel like I was playing BioShock a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because there's infection, dead people and stuff like that, but like, and also when I watched it, it looked really, really good as like an art style and the feel, because it looks like the motions of Outlast a little bit. Yeah. But I would have to play the game to be able to feel.
Oh, for sure. But it really gameplay seems to really pull into a lot of that kind of firefighter feel to it too. You get like a crowbar, you got to use it to open doors, you got to find fire extinguishers. It looks like you get to play with an axe, which is always fun, chopping up enemies.
You know what also makes it the game? Have you ever played Soma?
I haven't. I've seen stuff for it. It looks really fun.
I feel like it's like that because in Soma, if you don't mind, spoilers.
Go for it.
In the game, you're playing as a character that gets transferred
into a robot.
Yeah, into a robot, and basically have to fight these mutated creatures. And I feel like that's what the game is going off of.
But at the same time, you don't really know you're in the robot till later.
Yeah, until you get like
so
switch brains, boy.
Yeah.
He's like, why is he still talking?
So it's kind of a little bit of, you're trying to fight creatures, you're trying to survive, you're also trying to figure out what's going on.
But I do have to say with Soma, like, if that technology was real, I would say I would love to be in a robot.
Yeah, I think many people probably would. Except you'd miss sleeping and eating. I do like sleeping and eating.
Would you think our subconscious would be?
Probably not.
No, like
probably
because you think it's like a small, it's like a small thing that we do on a daily basis.
It's a survival thing. So if you didn't need it to survive, you might just forget it altogether.
Would you think it would take time though to not be able to eat, drink, and sleep?
I think it would, because out of habit, you'd end up smashing food into your faceplate after a little while.
Right.
But back to Quantum Break, or not Quantum Break, sorry. Quantum Error. I keep getting that mixed up. And the thing I like seeing about it, it's a smaller studio, and they're making a game that looks like it could challenge some of the AAA games. And it looks like they've worked really hard because I've seen one of the earlier commercials for it, and they've improved a lot since then. So I'm in support of what they're doing, and I'm here to help um, support these companies that are starting up with these new games.
Do you think they're ever going to do a beta for it?
I hope so. I'll keep an eye out for it. It looks like they want it to come out on the PlayStation. Um, I'm sure they'll have it come out for the Xbox eventually too, but on their commercial they had the PlayStation. So I don't know if that means it's 4 or 5.
I feel like since the new gens kind of come out in like December, I
Yeah.
feel like that's going to go on. That's probably going to come out like 2 months later after the PS4. Or it'll probably be exclusive during that day because, like
Could be.
Halo. Well, Halo's actually not going to be on the next gen console. It's going to be on Windows 10 and Xbox One.
Well, yeah. Everyone's moving over to computer because everyone knows you can do much more with the PC, especially with NVIDIA just coming out with their new graphics card.
Which one was that one?
I think it's the RX 2000.
Didn't they have an RX?
I saw it just the other day.
Isn't it an RX 2060?
Might be 2060. Yeah, it's one they just released and talked about the other day.
They're also putting it in I don't know what kind of graphics card PS4 has normally take. Do they do their own?
Yeah. It's a lot of PlayStation does their own stuff. I mean, because it's all Sony, so they kind of keep it in house because they've got all everything they need, as far as I know, anyway.
Right, because I know Xbox always has the NVIDIA, like software and stuff like that. So I feel like the next gen consoles are gonna have the XRT, the RTX. Sorry, and because Minecraft just finally got on the Xbox, they finally got the RTX ray tracing packs on Minecraft.
What is it? Here it is. It's no, that's a cooling system. Darn it. RTX 30 series.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so it's going to be...
Yeah, they're saying it's going to may power the world's supercomputers one day. Apparently, it's a really, really, really good...
Really good
graphics card.
How big is it? Is it like big or?
It looks like it comes with a fan.
Well, they all do.
It's decent sized.
Well, it actually looks really slick. Way better than the big, bulky, ugly ones.
Yeah, it's probably 2 hand lengths. It's the best way I can put it. About a foot long, give or take.
Right. So back to Quantum Free.
Quantum Error.
Quantum Error.
This is bad. Good thing they're not sponsors because we cannot get this name down.
No, because I was thinking about Quantum Break as well, because I was like, oh wait, is it Quantum Break? Even though that they're on the game.
Yeah, no, Quantum Break's a completely different game.
Right. So what other games are coming out? I know. Crash Bandicoot is finally coming out with a 4th one.
Yes, and what's it called?
Crash Bandicoot 4.
No, it's I forgot what it's called. It's like it's finally coming out or something.
It's finally coming back.
Yeah, it's something really, really punny.
Yeah, well, did you ever take a look at it?
I was never into Crash Bandicoot games as a kid, so it's not one I looked up.
Really?
Yeah, really.
No. Well, it's finally coming a new game because they just remastered the 3,
Yeah.
So I feel like I want to say the competitor Spiral is going to probably do a new game as well, but I feel like that's going to take some time with them.
Well, but you think it's Crash Bandicoot. It's about time. That's what it's called.
It's about time.
It's about time. Yes. I think, it's eventually they were going to make one. And so it has been a little while since they've made a Crash Bandicoot game, but you also think Crash Bandicoot hasn't made another game before the remake for quite a while. They made a few Game Boy games and stuff, but
right,
nothing big,
nothing too big.
Yeah. No, but Spyro kept coming out. The makers of Spyro kept coming out with stuff. They came out with a bunch of in-between games that came out for the Xbox and a couple of the other systems. And then they came out with Skylanders. So they had that whole Skylanders thing there for a little bit, which I'm sure still has some ground on the Wii. And so yeah, I'd say they're kind of competitors back in the day. I don't know so much anymore because part of me looks at games and it's like, if you like one, you like it, and you're probably going to get it, whether it's from one studio or another. So if you like both of them, you're going to get both of them anyway.
Right.
It's kind of the game and entertainment industry is kind of weird because they have competitors, but they don't have competitors at the same time. The biggest competitors are probably PlayStation and Xbox. I mean, they don't even kind of delve in the realm of PC because they're giving all their games to the PC.
Right, yeah. So what's another game that is coming out pretty soon that you've been looking into? Personally,
right now, that's kind of about it for me.
Really? There's a lot of games that Assassin's Creed that's coming, that new one.
I played the originals with Ezio. I didn't play the first one because every time I tried, I had it for my computer, it never worked, so I never got around to it.
Crashes.
Yeah,
pretty much
every time. So I kind of gave up on that and never had it for a system.
Right.
But I played the 3 Ezio ones. They were fun. Then I tried playing 3 and it drug on a little bit. It got a little boring and I just haven't played them since.
Well, okay, then the first one you have is the second one. And then you have Brotherhood. And then you have Revelations. But
I played the Ezio trilogy.
I feel like the Revelations one kind of did drag on just a little bit, but also gave him a good ending. Because I feel like it gave him...
And then it was Ezio. They really developed his character. They really made you invested in Ezio. Now, and they also made you invested in Desmond. That was his name?
Yeah, Miles Desmond.
And you wanted to play to see where his story went as well. And then you kind of learn they're just going to kill him off in 3, and I kind of lost interest. I'm like...
Yeah, because in the second one, you're still following his bloodline. But it's like you're not even playing Desmond. You're just playing...
Yeah, and you're playing some random person no one cares about. As far as I know, I didn't play beyond 3, and I never even finished 3.
Right, yeah, I just... Oof.
It got boring, and they just came out with so many games.
4 was okay because it was pirates, but then you go into like the newer ones, Origins, Odyssey, and the new one that's coming out. It looks great, but I'm just like, there's no story to it.
The graphics and everything is great, but from kind of some of the things I've seen, it doesn't look like an Assassin's Creed game.
No, it looks like more of a Viking game.
Yeah, it's just like, we ran out of ideas, so we're just going to start throwing quote-unquote assassins into everything and every culture we can so we can throw our title on it and get people to play.
Right. I'm just shaking my head in disapproval, man. Like, it's very hard to like not hate a game because you grew up with... Because I grew up with Assassin's Creed because it was...
Yeah.
But after 3 and 4, it was just like, dude, just end the game.
Let it finish. Especially you have so many breakouts and side stories that didn't even really catch on too great with the community.
Yeah. What was the England one?
I think it's Syndicate.
Yeah, that was pretty trash.
You play as the twins or whatever.
Yeah, that was pretty trash.
No, I heard that one was one of the worst.
Yeah, it was like, how can you try to get even the combat system changed so much.
Which, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, because like in Revelations, it was really good, and then you change it from 3 to 4. It's like, okay, and then Odyssey and Origins and up is like...
Well, I heard Origins kind of renewed it a bit, and then I think Odyssey was just kind of lukewarm because I didn't hear almost anything about it. It came out and it came and went, and I had no idea. I missed it.
Same. It was like, oh yeah, there's a new one. I was like, really, again? Because they just brought out
Odyssey.
Origins.
or Origins, yeah.
Yeah, they brought out Origins, and then like the next conference, like, oh yeah, guess what we're making? An Odyssey. I'm like, dude, I
Well,
just played Origins.
even Origins, I look at it and I'm like, why did they make you play as the character you play as? Because there's no mention of him anywhere in the other games, but his wife is mentioned. Why not play as her? She was mentioned in the first one with Ezio, just 2. And I mean, her and other assassins were mentioned before Ezio. It's like you could play it as her. You could have played as any of them and built on the storyline of Desmond, but they kind of just went whatever they want with it.
I have a question though. Why name it Origins when the game is not even related to the start of Assassins?
Because it's before the Assassins. It's like the origin.
Well, I'm just saying because like it didn't start with him.
I've only mostly watched videos of it, so
yeah, I do too. I don't want to like the lore kind of like fell off after.
Like I said, I haven't played another one after 3, and I didn't get through 3 because it was just too slow.
Right. Did you see that Mafia is now getting remastered?
I did not.
Yeah, it's becoming more with our time. They're changing the graphics and they're redoing some of the combat system, I believe.
I sure would hope. I mean, Mafia 3, I think, was a really big hit. I never got around to playing it.
I never liked Mafia 3. I liked 2 and 1, but I
never
heard
liked 3. A lot of people liked 3.
No, I couldn't get into the whole that story, like because it didn't feel like the older ones.
It was too different for you.
Yeah. Well, the older ones were like, yeah, you were with a bunch of gangsters, but this one is like you're kind of in a gang.
I mean, you're starting a mafia, aren't you? Isn't that kind of what it is?
But it didn't feel like it though. Like that's what I'm saying. It didn't feel like it. That's what I was saying. I was like, it didn't.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, comes to everyone's opinion. These are our opinions. If you don't like them,
sorry.
Too bad. I'm not sorry.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I think at the beginning, the mafia is trying to kill you.
Yeah.
In the third one, and it's like, why not just say Mafia Revenge of what's his name? Well, whatever his name was, because
Revenge of the Sith.
That too. Copyright strike. Ban hammer. Ban.
Well, you're not banning me. I'm not the one that named the game Revenge of the Sith. That was Mafia. Sue Mafia. But they didn't do that, so can't sue Mafia.
No.
Sorry. Slander and lies.
But I'll give Mafia 3. It was pretty beautiful as a game.
It did. I mean, I think that might be what everyone liked. But I saw it. It looked very nice. It looked like the combat system was well done. It looked like they had put a lot into the story, just from what I saw from watching videos. But
right.
Again, I haven't played that one, so I don't have too much of an opinion on it.
I don't either. Well, I do, but I want to see when it comes out.
You played the first 2, so you have an opinion on the series.
The story was really good. I'm just hoping to see where they take it as graphics and where the engine goes with it, because I think they redid a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
So we're going out of games. So if you have any questions, always contact us. If you have any questions. So we're moving on to
be on Instagram and Twitter at some point.
Yes, sir. So we're talking about movies now. What movie looks interesting to you? I know that Tenet is.
Yeah, so we've talked a little about Tenet before. We're going to try and go see that Monday and give a review. From what I've seen so far, I've heard it's a movie you've got to sit down, shut up, and watch, or you will miss things.
It's like Inception.
Yeah. You can't sit there and be like, why'd that happen? Why'd that happen? You got to actually kind of pay attention to what's going on in the movie to gather what's going on. Because it's Christopher Nolan. He's going to
throw something at you,
blow your mind in some way.
It's like if you don't see it, then you're gonna have to rewatch the whole movie to be able to get what he's trying to show you.
Yeah. I have heard some people complain about the sound, though, that he did something with the sound and people didn't like it. Again, we'll just have to go see it to see what's going on there.
Yeah, he's more of a Christopher Nolan's more of a kind of like mess with your brain kind of type thing. And that's why I like him so much, is because he'll take advantage of like the small things to be able to make it big.
Well, as long as he's got big booming noises in it, I will be happy. Bwah.
Yeah, the whole big concept of time reversing. So when you really think about it, are these people dead and because I don't know.
I don't know either. Again,
because the trailer is,
he's probably dead.
Well, because the trailer didn't really give us much.
No, I don't think he wanted to give us very much. He wanted us to wait and see. So the other one, I think Sputnik.
Yes. The one that I was kind of interested in, even though it's not in America right now. It's about a Russian set, and they're basically figuring out what is going on with this guy, because this guy kind of has like an alien inside him kind of type thing.
Nice.
So they're trying to figure him out. But in the end, they just all die, because that's what I've seen so far.
And I mean, it looks like it takes place in 1983, so it revolves around actual Sputnik in a way.
Yeah.
Even though Sputnik was just a satellite.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they had like an alien inside, or something that mutated inside.
Yeah. We'll have to watch it. I mean, it looks like it's out on iTunes, so it's got to be out other places.
Do you know what A24 is?
Yeah, it's like
it's more like kind of
indie movies.
Yeah, it's more of an indie movie that actually you don't really see a whole lot of outside country indie movies a whole lot now these days.
Well, some of them are pretty good. Some of those especially the sci-fi indie movies. I've seen some that, like, we watched High Life. It had some good moments. It had some really weird parts that made me very uncomfortable, especially watching with another guy in the room. It's like, yeah, that's just weird. This is stuff you don't watch with other guys.
It was an interesting movie, because we've seen another movie that was like the same way. I don't remember what it was.
Dust? Is that what you're thinking? Or no, not Dust. It's made by Dust. Are you thinking the one with the guy that plays Mandalorian? Why can't I think what it's called?
I think it's yeah.
It was really good. I really liked it. They were like on an alien planet, covered in trees. I think we watched that one together. What is it called? Prospect.
Prospect, yeah.
That's what it's called. That one was good. I really liked that one. It kind of made me like, what is his name? Who plays Mandalorian?
I don't remember.
I can't remember either.
Yeah, his name kind of eludes me every time, like, because all you think of is the Mandalorian.
Yes, Mando. He's a pretty decent actor, but I really like, those were good movies. And did you ever see Ex Machina?
Yes.
It had Oscar Isaacs and Domhnall Gleeson.
Yep.
I mean, two Star Wars guys in a sci-fi movie. That one was really interesting. Wasn't a big fan of the ending. I don't know why she let Domhnall Gleeson get locked up and die of starvation. Presumably later on. Maybe there was a reason and I just missed it.
No, but I don't know either.
It was a good one. The story was interesting. It was an interesting take on robots and AI.
So, you know what else is a really good movie? That had only just sound?
What?
A Quiet Place. That was a good movie.
I did like The Quiet Place. I thought that was interesting. I'm not as big a fan of sequels in general, so I'm not excited to see the sequel to it. I think it kind of ended well and kind of gave you a what could happen in the future, and just kind of let your imagination go for it, instead of going into the second one where they are adding sound and making it just like a normal action movie. At least that's what it looks like to me.
I think that they just showed most of the action parts of the movie, showing what the events is like what happened with other people instead of just the family. Because in the first one, who's the director?
It was the guy who was the main character. John Krasinski was the one who directed it.
Yeah,
It was his baby.
Yeah, and I honestly think that he did a really good job in the first one and playing as one of the main characters. And
he's
then
not just Jim from The Office for sure.
No.
He's definitely not let himself get typecast as that.
No. When I do look at him, because he played in some other serious movies, I always think of The Office. I'm like,
I mean,
I think of Office every time I look at him as an actor.
His face hasn't changed at all. He's still got that kind of soft looking face.
Goofy kind of face.
Yeah, a little bit. But he's grown the beard to try and subside, but it hasn't helped too much.
It looks good.
It does. But I mean, he's really worked on his career to do other things and put himself out there, and he's done a good job. Like he's also what is it? He's in a Tom Clancy. He's in a Tom Clancy Amazon series. I can't remember what it's called. I haven't watched it. And he's done what was I think it was the movie about Benghazi a couple years back.
I did see that one, but I forgot the name. I honestly did. I actually had to look it up because I saw it on a trailer.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, I saw him on there and he was playing in it and I was like, oh man, I gotta watch this movie.
I think it was his first big role outside of The Office too.
Yes.
And I mean, he did A Quiet Place with his wife too. I just had her name. Emily Blunt. Oh, okay. He did it with Emily Blunt.
Yes. Yeah. So I gotta see what kind of movies he's done because like I liked whatever he played in.
Yeah, it's 13 Hours, The Secret of Soldiers of Benghazi.
Yes, I did like that one. That was actually a really good one.
I haven't seen that one. There's plenty of movies I haven't seen that I'd love to see.
I didn't even know he played in Jarhead.
I didn't know that either, but I've only seen like the first 30 minutes of that. I was watching it and then I had to do something and I never finished it. Also, Jake Gyllenhaal kind of bugs me.
At times.
Not a huge fan of him. He kind of looks weird and acts weird. He's not a great actor. Which is hilarious because everyone loves him.
I don't.
So many people do though. At least I feel like they do. How about TV? Anything coming out on TV you're excited for?
Not really. There's it's kind of been dead lately with all TV shows.
Well, The Boys just came out, season 2, Amazon. I watched season 1. I liked it. I thought it was good. I'm
not a big fan of those kind of like superhero movies, but you know what I did like that you showed me? Expanse.
The Expanse is good. I like The Expanse.
I made it to season 2.
Yeah. Well, I've got Amazon, so if you need to watch it, we'll have to get you hooked up. But I'm reading the books right now. The books go into so much more detail. It's so much better. Especially because you think the time difference in the show, they kind of do everything quickly, but in the books, it takes years to do some of the things that go on. It's a great book. It's definitely something to look into if you like the show.
Right. Because you said before when we were talking about it, in the books, the woman that appears in the first season is not even supposed to be there.
Yeah. Which, I mean, some of it's nice in the show. You get to see some of the characters develop in earlier seasons than in later seasons when they don't show up at all in the books. But you get so much more out of the main characters that the books are focusing on when you watch or read the books compared to the show. Season 1 was fairly close to the book, though. Season 1 was the most accurate. Season 2 didn't delve too far away, but there were some kind of big differences in there that kind of threw it off a little bit.
Right.
Like, how far into season 2 did you get?
I think I'm at the part where wait, is that season 2? Is where they meet all together? Like the cop leaves.
Oh, well, yeah, because part of season 2 is still part of book 1 too. It's like halfway through season 2 is when you finally meet Bobby, the Martian Marine, who I will say the actor did a great job. She did great. The only thing I was upset about was that she didn't have a drawl. She had a kind of Australian accent when she should have had a drawl like the pilot,
Right. Yeah.
because that's kind of the Martian syntax.
hmm You know, when it comes
Mariner Valley.
when it comes from books to TV or movies,
Mhm.
I feel like they lose the creativity of the author. But they're
Oh,
like
for sure.
they're showing the whole like, oh yeah, we made this book into a movie. I hope it like it's gonna be great and all that. And then you realize that it sucks because it's like you're not following the books.
And that's what people want to see. I mean, there's going to be differences for sure, but there's a lot of things that you miss out on. Like, one I'm excited to see, but also a little worried, is Dennis Villanueva's rendition of Dune. I love Dune. I've read the books. And it's another series I'm kind of working my through because there is a lot to the Dune universe.
Right.
The Frank Herbert had a expansive idea of what he was going to do before he died, and his son finished it up for him. And they're going to make it into a movie. It sounds like they're going to make the first book into 2 movies, which makes sense. It's kind of one of the bigger books. But I'm a little worried because every time somebody makes a movie or the miniseries that was on Sci-Fi back in the early 2000s, they always miss important things or take things out or add things that you're like, that didn't really need to be added.
Right.
Like, I watched a documentary on can't remember his name, but he's a Spanish filmmaker who was going to make a version of Dune back in, I want to say, the 70s or
Mhm.
60s, 70s time. And it was the artistic direction was really cool. Some of the ideas he had were great, but he was going to end it in such a way that it completely ruins the idea Frank Herbert had, and it would completely take away from what the series was about because he didn't want to make a sequel. And his words were, excuse kind of the vision here. He wanted to take Frank Herbert's idea and rip it. That's what he said.
Oh man.
And that's a
PG-13.
Yes. It kind of takes away that book, the feeling the book had, that story, and destroys it entirely.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How are you going to sit there like as a director and say I'm not interested, then why take the job? And also why are you not interested? And say why aren't you going to make another sequel?
Yeah, why you take the source material and tear it apart when you have great source material that people love.
Right.
I mean, the idea of making books into movies is making something visual for people who haven't had a chance to read it, or people who have read it and maybe don't see things visually in their mind. Give
Right.
them that opportunity to see that. Why would you take that and rip it to shreds like that?
I don't know, man. Like I honestly don't understand why people will destroy something like Ender's Game. I read Ender's Game.
That's a great example.
I wish it was a sequel if the movie was better.
Yeah, and the movie didn't do the book justice at all.
No, it did not. There were so many plot holes to it. There was like, dude, if you just read the book, you can just picture it then, like in your mind. Because I read the book, and that's like the really big book I really liked.
It was a big series back in the.
What did they come out with? 4 books?
No. There's a lot more. I've read all of them. That is a series I have read every single Ender's Game book.
How many are there so far?
There's Ender's Game. In the Ender's Game series, for him specifically, there's Ender's Game, Speaker for the Dead, Xenophobia, and Children of the Mind are those ones. And then Bean, the secondary character in the first book, you remember him?
Yeah.
He's kind of short. He gets his own Shadow of the Giant series, which has 4 books. And then after he wrote, or Scott Card wrote the initial 4 Ender books, he actually went back and wrote a sequel that's directly in line between the Speaker for the Dead and Ender's Game that ties it in.
Yeah.
it shows him kind of why he's traveling and what he's doing traveling from Earth with his sister Valentine. And it kind of bridges that gap there with why he decided to become Speaker for the Dead.
Yeah. Gotta hate directors, you know?
Well, and that's like one that I think if they went back, they could make it a TV series.
Ender's Game? Yeah. I feel like Ender's Game or some other books, stuff like that.
I mean, you could make the whole series a TV series there. I mean, TV is the way everything's going. I think we're going to go away from most movies here very soon.
It's either TV shows or games, because you could put more into games.
I mean, I think we talked about it a little bit before, but Joseph Gordon-Levitt kind of said that, was that he thinks everything's going to go the way of games because it's a better way to tell a narrative.
Yeah.
It's a better way to get your ideas out so that people can not just see them, but interact with them, be involved with them, and experience them, especially with games where you can make decisions.
Yeah, and when I really think about it, it gives more in-depth to the storyteller. And being able to create a game or a TV show, allowing them express themselves. You could actually take a book and like put all those words into a game, really, if you really think about it.
Oh yeah,
because it gives it more life. Because you can visualize what's going on because because the story tells you what's happening in the game or what happened in the book.
Yeah, well, and you look at games like Heavy Rain or Beyond Two Souls or what was the other one that they made?
Becoming Human.
Become Human.
Detroit.
Detroit Become Human.
Yeah,
there it is.
Sorry.
Those are like choose your own adventure books in the form of a video game.
Yeah.
And it lets you go explore, it lets you investigate, lets you do kind of whatever you need to decide how the game's going to play out. And like every little decision you make affects something later on. And if you pay attention and
it's like the butterfly effect.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's definitely a way things are going. And I think TV shows are also there because you get to expand a storyline and get more details in there and take years instead of having to hammer out a movie every other year and cram as much as you can into 2 hours?
Right.
Whole book into 2 hours. Instead, you get to cram a whole book into a 10-hour series.
Yeah. Even like you could even do it like Netflix, Prime, and other small companies that would
I think that's where most of it's going.
HBO is now doing their own studio.
They've had their own studio for years.
They
were kind of the original.
Yeah, that's true. There's another like app, like an app series. It's called Quibi.
Yeah, they're 10-minute up and down videos for phones. There were a lot of actors kind of pushing that.
Yeah. But then they kind of made it into like a TV show.
Well, it's a Netflix app for TV series.
Yeah, well, and I did not know that actually.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like up and down videos for TV, but you get like 10-minute episodes or something. There were a lot of actors pushing it, and I heard it didn't open too great. I wasn't very interested in it.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in it either. Yeah, I wasn't in it either.
We're still new to this, folks, so bear with us.
So, other than games, is there anything like movies, games, anything like that? Is there anything new going on?
I think in the world right now, we're just
sitting here.
Yeah, we're waiting. We're waiting for everything to calm down so we can get back to our normal lives.
Did you ever play Last of Us 2? No? Have you ever watched it?
I didn't, no.
Did you play the first one?
Didn't like the first one.
You didn't?
I was kind of bored.
Well, I could tell you what, number 2 was a disappointment too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the first one was good, but the second one, they just like kind of ruined it.
Yeah, well, I've heard lots of mixed reviews. I heard some people loved it. Heard some people hated it. I think, not to get political here, I think a lot of it might be based on your political leanings. Me, I didn't really enjoy the first one, so I wasn't going to play the second one.
No, I didn't either. So I watched it, and it's all about revenge kind of thing.
Yeah.
For like Joel to being killed, and I was like, oh man, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Because it's like towards the end, she was happy, and it was And then she gets like this ultimatum, like she's like, "Oh, I found the person that killed him." And I was like, "Dude, you're done. Just leave it." And then she's like, goes back, and you know what happens? They fight. She just lets her go. She's like, I'm like, dude, that why even go to go kill her and then not even kill her and then reflect on your actions and then now you lost everyone that you loved because that decision was.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't play it. I don't know anything. I don't know much about it. I don't care to watch the videos for it because I'm not interested in it. Not my thing.
Yeah, that's true.
No, if it's interesting, like a game that I think's interesting but probably won't play because I'm a little bit of a pansy, like Outlast or Resident Evil 7, I'll watch some of the videos and kind of get an idea what it is. And maybe sometime I'll play Outlast. It's on my PlayStation, but my reflexes are not fast enough and I will die a lot.
I do have a question.
What?
We were talking about Control the other day, right?
Yes.
Have you played Alan Wake yet? The new Alan Wake DLC?
I haven't. A lot of the games I've been playing, I only really get on to play with my brother if I'm playing online, because I just haven't had time.
I hear it's really good. Like I've heard reviews about it, but I haven't watched any gameplay yet.
I've seen some gameplay before it came out, kind of the reveal gameplay. It looked like it was pretty cool. I mean, I really liked Control. I thought it was a well-made game.
I haven't played it, but I did watch it. It was interesting.
You should try because, especially if you get it on your PC, it looks really good on the PC.
Right. There's another one. The DLC, the first one, right?
Yeah.
What was it? Home
Foundation.
The
Foundation, yeah.
I thought that was really cool. Like being able to bring rocks out.
Yeah,
that was really cool. I thought that concept was like, oh wow, why couldn't you play that?
Because they wanted to save it for the DLC.
Yeah, but people will make you stand. Like all you have to do is float around, and it's like, oh, that's boring. But then you have like you pull rocks, jump, stuff like that.
Well, and I really like how Remedy kind of makes some of their games. I mean, they're really good at narrative. They're really good at kind of doing that weird, out of the box style kind of story and gameplay. Kind of like Alan Wake was pretty good when it came out. Everybody liked Max Payne. And Quantum Break, I think some people they tried too hard between the TV show and the game, and it just didn't come out right.
It was an all right game, but like having the concept of time travel, being able to stop time, stop the time flow because you're breaking time.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty good. Like,
the idea behind it, yeah.
Story wise, not so much.
Kind of
concept wise, pretty cool.
Kind of put all their eggs in probably the TV show basket a little too much.
Yeah, pretty much. So when I watched Control, right?
Yeah.
And even though I watched like some of the lore, it's still confusing. Like in a game, even though you had to go around and find it, I'm still confused.
It's one of those games where you kind of have to fill in the gaps with your imagination.
Right.
You got to think because it's simulating a secret government organization that goes around and kind of collects things that are anomalous in the universe. I mean, or in the world, not the universe. And if you go through the Opportunity AWE, where kind of Jesse's story starts, there's a lot of weird stuff in a lot of those writings. There's a lot of like interdimensional travel and monsters and a kid turning into a dog that you're just like, I want to know more about this, but all I get to know about it is what's inside of these collectibles.
Right.
So, and I mean, thinking on that, something I'd love to see, because Control reminds me of SCPs. If you've heard about SCPs, I know
I love SCP. Oh man, they are like one of the greatest creations I've ever.
It's like creepypasta is kind of the idea behind it, but it delves so much deeper than just a creepypasta story.
Right. When you really look at the SCPs and you see all the like the time that people put in for their
Oh
stories,
yes.
it's like it's crazy because they go in more depth than I would in watching video games.
Yeah. Like you'll read some of them and you're like, I could see that being a show or a movie or something. I think my thought,
Put it in a book.
you could put it in a book. I mean, kind of got a book on the website. You just go to the wiki and you can read through everything you want.
Yeah, but there's always new SCPs being made.
That's why you got to keep. That's why it's good on a website because it keeps track
Yeah.
with that sort of stuff. But you take some of those cooler ones and you talk to the people who wrote them. You work something out with them, and we get a TV show made for them. That would be cool, especially if they did it in like a kind of documentary form. Is my thought. Like you could kind of keep it simple. I mean, you could make sure make it so you don't have to hire as maybe bigger actors or whatever. But at the same time, you could do it any way you want. I'm not in Hollywood.
They're probably going to do it anyways, like
That'd
do
be
famous
really-
people.
That'd be really cool though, because you get it like a documentary where they're talking, this is what happened, this is what this thing is. Especially if you did like the anti-meme one, 055, I think. It would be like the whole time they're talking about it, they're not talking about it at all. And they do it like the person's actually interviewing people there, and as soon as they talk about it, they forget what's going on and start talking about something else. It would kind of be funny, but at the same time, it would really capture what the SCPs are. And they could really do the captured footage and all that stuff and just make it, some parts seem like found footage, some parts seem like they're interviewing. They could have some redacted, so they take away people's faces and stuff like that and muffle their voices. It would look like a really cool TV show, I think.
Right, yeah. My favorite one is the kind of cinder block one. I don't remember what a CPU that was. It's the one where you close you blink and the SCP comes right at
statue.
you. Yeah.
That one to me that one's a little bit less because it's kind of a rip off of the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who. It's like almost directly a rip off of the older ones that snap necks instead of just sending people back in time.
I thought that was great. Even and then you have Shy Guy. Oof.
That one's weird.
That one is weird. Like you can't even look at the man's face.
You look at 4 pixels of the face and he'll escape and destroy a whole town of people.
They did there's also some people that do scenarios, like write scenarios. So one scenario is if SCP decided to destroy the own world because they didn't think everybody wasn't worthy, kind of type thing. So during the story, he's like, they sent out a picture of Shy Guy's face, and he is just going. They say he breaks out. He's going on a tear through like countries, and I was like, Jesus.
Well, and the one I really liked that actually when I pictured a certain actor as the role. I'm not going to say his name because I don't know if I'm allowed to or not legally or something. I don't know, but it's like the
Wait, you can't say his name?
I don't know. Haley Joel Osment, I think, would fit perfectly in the role. You know who that is?
Mm-mm.
He's kind of a semi-short, tubby guy. He used to be like a big child actor. Secondhand Lions. I think he was Sixth Sense kid.
I do know him.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's kind of gotten bigger. He was in The Boys as kind of a washed-up child actor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he would fit well under the role of the
director.
No. In the SCP, I'm thinking, I can't remember the number, but it's the reluctant interdimensional traveler.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Where he like jumps to different universes or dimensions or whatever, and ends up stuck there for a little while and explores while he's there until he randomly gets sent back. It's like random for him. He has no choice as to when he comes or goes.
There's another SCP that gets teleported everywhere, but he doesn't, like, it could be any time at any place.
It might be the same one.
No, the one that you're talking about, this is a different SCP, but the one that I know you're talking about is not that one.
But I mean, listening to it, I'm like, I could see him in the role as the SCP. I think it would fit very well.
Yeah, I think so. So we're going to start wrapping up. Thank you for tuning in. My name's Nick.
And I'm Chris.
This is The Nerd Secret. Have a great day.